What's up, everybody? Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Agent Evolution Show. So today what I want to talk with you about is a topic of consciousness. What is it and why is it important? So what I'm about to explain is simply just my opinion, my understanding of the topic and how it served me. And so consciousness is basically this. It is the ability to have awareness of yourself. So it's important then we talk about who are you, right? So consciousness is the ability to have the awareness of yourself and how you operate. So then, a lot of times we can identify with that voice in our head that's we tend to listen to and take advice from that doesn't always usually turn out to be the best advice, right? That's the ego. That's the part of our psyche that is there to protect us and keep us safe. At least that's what it thinks, right? And so consciousness and awareness is the ability to observe that voice, to observe the voice and not have to identify with it. So consciousness then is simply the witness or the observer of all parts of self. So how do you know what part is really you and what part is that inner roommate? Simply this. If you can observe something, if you can witness something, then that must mean you are not it. You're the observer of it. And so, like the old analogy says, a fish doesn't know it's in water until you pull it out, right? Well, so is your conscious mind and that inner roommate. Like, if you could take a step back from yourself and just observe or witness the thoughts that you're having, observe and witness the feelings that you're feeling that are habitual, you would then be able to make new choices and new decisions and therefore new behaviors to experience new things in life. Yet the issue is this. The other part of the mind is the unconscious, what we call subconscious mind. It's below the analytical mind. And that's where we store our memories, our beliefs, our mental programs, our models of reality that are really running the show. And so every time we get into action when we're not conscious, when we're not self-aware, 95% of our decisions come from that subconscious mind that's running the show. Yet on the top and the surface here, we have that inner roommate that's just going and going and going. And some people come to me and say, how do you get that thing to just shut off? Right? And there are tools and techniques for that. But my point to this video is this. If you want to create a different personal reality, if you want to create bigger, better, different results in your life, it will require two things. One, increase your level of consciousness, increase your level of self-awareness. And two, breaking those subconscious programs that are running beneath the surface, that's running beneath the analytical mind. And so in order to become more self-aware, there's a couple ways you can do that. Number one is this opportunity we have right now called quarantine. Anytime we can remove ourselves out of our habitual patterns or routines, we get to objectify and take a look at what has been and why it's been. We get to reflect, so to speak. We get to witness. We get to observe how we've been. And so being in quarantine, breaking that pattern, breaking that routine can give you the opportunity to become more introspective and take a look at how have I been operating my life that's serving me and how have I been operating my life that has not been serving me and helping create not so great results. So anytime you can break away and take yourself out of that habitual pattern of life, I look at that as a gift because it gives you the opportunity to become introspective. The other model is this, the other way to increase consciousness and quiet that inner roommate, meditation. Do you carve out sacred time within your day to sit with self in silence, just breathe and witness your thoughts and not grab onto and identify with it and carry it through? Whenever you can meditate, take yourself out of your routine and become more self-aware, you're increasing that consciousness. Here's the power in that. When you start to realize the themes that you run, your models of reality that are playing out underneath your awareness, you can begin to question them. And you can begin to make new choices, new decisions that lead to new experiences by becoming more self-aware. And so I urge you to get a daily practice where you can sit in silence and become more self-aware, understand yourself more, see yourself more. Now, the biggest thing is this. When a lot of people make this shift and they start to meditate or become more self-aware, they start to notice just how many thoughts they have. And I think one of the biggest traps is people begin to notice how negative most of their thoughts are. And then so they make that wrong about themselves and they shame themselves for that and think, I gotta think positive, I gotta shift. Well, there's some level of truth in that. What I want you to know is this. Can you just witness the thought with a neutral emotional state? That it's not good or bad, right or wrong, it's just a thought. Take the judgment off it, take the energy off it, and just notice that it was a thought. And you'll notice you have a habitual way of thinking. Now the good news is this. As you become more self-aware, you can change those dominant thoughts. Yet it won't be easy and it will take effort. Because those thoughts are simply just neurons firing in the brain, yes? And it's a habitual pattern. So they're used to firing and they're overactive. When you become more self-aware, you can shut those parts down by having new thoughts. So, what is your practice to create space and time in your reality to practice this? Because you can change the functionality of the brain. It's called neuroplasticity. And so, what do you want the brain to create? What new level of mind do you want to have? And you can do that through consciousness. So, you could either wake up every day and be living basically Groundhog's Day and creating the same old results and same old situations and just feel so stuck, which I believe is total victim, or you can be responsible. Create the time and space for your daily ritual, your practice, your sadhana, to increase your consciousness so that you can reprogram those unconscious belief systems to create new ones that serve you in creating bigger, better results in your life. So, that was very long-winded and I have so much more to say, yet I want to keep this as short as possible. So, as I end every Agent Evolution video with, who you surround yourself with matters. Are you surrounding yourself with people that have an elevated sense of consciousness, that are self-aware, that pay attention to how they operate, they're breaking old habits and creating new models of reality, or not? So, I hope you got some value out of today. Thank you so much for watching. Make it a great day.